when I was younger and I was still studying, I used to look at people that were already working, that had careers, that were buying cars and house, living the lifestyles, going on holidays. I used to look at that and aspire to that. And I used to look at them and say, oh wow, these people are successful and this person is doing well for themselves. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one that has felt that, especially when we're younger, when we didn't know much, when we're not where we are now. We used to look at that and say that person is doing well in life. It's a perspective that is still very much prevalent in society, that when you are working and you are able to attain these things, then you are considered to be doing well in life. And we don't take time to think of what are the implications of that, or what does that mean for the person's finances? What are the responsibilities that come with having all of these things? All we care about is the fact that we are seeing those things, and that for us is success. And one thing I've realized now that I'm here is that this comes with a lot of responsibilities, and in many cases the choices that we make because we want this lifestyle end up putting us in a prison, in a financial prison that we create for ourselves, in a financial prison that we create because of our choices, not of anyone's choices, but because of our choices. And we find ourselves in this money trap and in this money loop where we keep working for money constantly over and over again without feeling like we are making any progress. For someone looking from the outside, it looks like we're successful, but for us who are within, who are living that lifestyle, we're struggling, we're barely making it. So on today's video, I want us to look at some of the money traps that middle class encounters that end up putting us in the red race. Now, I want us to first distinguish this because I don't want us to get confused. In the internet, there's this thing whereby people will say that if you're working a normal job, then you are in the red race, you are stuck. And that couldn't be further from the truth, but rather red race is when you are working constantly for the next paycheck. Not because you're working a 9 to 5, no, you're constantly working for the next paycheck because you need that paycheck to cover all of your responsibilities such that there's nothing left. And so you constantly have to work for that paycheck. So that is what a red race is. And many of the middle class are stuck in this red race where constantly we are working for that next paycheck and we never feel like it is enough because every time it comes in, it goes out to all of the responsibilities that we have. So today I want us to look at what are some of the money traps that put us in this place as the middle class or as the working class in this country or anywhere in the world. So with that being said, let us get into it. So first things first, before we get into the point of what are those money traps, I first want to introduce myself to anyone who's new here. My name is Ucheni Fangumalo. I'm a public servant, a content creator, and a businesswoman. I create financial content, lifestyle content, as well as career growth. So if any of those pillars are something that interests you, please make sure that you join us by clicking that red subscribe button on the bottom, and also don't forget to smash that like button because it does help for YouTube to push my videos for more people to see. And also welcome to everyone who's new here. We are so close to 50,000 subscribers, guys. What are we going to do for 50,000 subscribers? Because come on, it is knocking on the corner. You know it is knocking. Mostly, thank you so much for the support and the love that you have shown me over the years in this platform and that you continue to show me. Without wasting any time, let us get into it. So the first one is buying more than what you can afford. And how does this even come about? This comes about when you are working, guys. When you work, you get a pay slip, right? And when you get this pay slip, it tells you how much you get paid. It tells you all of the deductions and how much is left. So when you then go to a bank or you go to a financial institution and you look for a loan or you look for funding for a certain thing, maybe you want to buy a house, buy a car, buy anything that you want to buy, or get into debt or get a credit card and all the stuff, they look at how much are you earning. They also look at your credit score. So this for us becomes a ticket for the things that we want. So we use this pay slip in order for us to be able to get this money that we don't have so that we can finance the things that we need, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with this. Absolutely nothing wrong with this. It is normal for you to use your payslip to get the things that you want or to get the finance so that you can get the things that you want. Because if we're being honest, not many of us can afford to just pop up 500,000 to buy a house or pop up 800,000 to buy a house or even more than that. Even same thing with the car. Not many of us can afford to just pop up 400,000 to buy a car, right? So we can all agree that it is very normal for a person to actually go and look for finance in order for them to fund this lifestyle that they want. The trick here, or where the problem starts, is when people now use this payslip to go and get finance for the things that they can't afford. The things that they know very well that they can't afford, but in their minds they've convinced themselves that this is something that they want. Some people are delusional in the fact that they just say, you know what, I'll cross that bridge when I get into it. But then some people, they just do not sit down and make sure that they calculate what are their living expenses in conjunction with how much they make. Now, if they then go and get finance for this thing, are they going to be able to afford it? Not just for now, but for long term. So people look at now and say, okay, right now I can afford to pay 5,000 for a car, without thinking of, in the next year or in 2 years, will I still be able to afford this, given the fact that there's lifestyle inflation, given the fact that everything in a year goes up, given the fact that there is also changes in the interest rate. Now, here's what the bank does. So the bank will say, okay, looking at your income, your debts, as well as your credit score, we think that this is what you can afford. This is your affordability. So for a car, maybe they'll say you afford a car of 500,000. Now, then a person will go and buy a car of 480,000 or 450,000. Now, there's a small space there between 500,000 and 450, which means that for you, if there are any small changes that happen in the interest rates, any small changes that happen in your life, you will struggle to continue paying for that car. Same thing with the house. The bank will tell you that you afford a house of 1 million, and then the person will go and buy a house of 1 million, or will go and buy a house of 950,000. That 50,000 that is a different is not going to make a difference much, because whatever changes that happen in that interest rates, or whatever changes that happen in your life in terms of responsibilities, there will come a time whereby you are not going to be able to pay for that house and you'll feel like you are drowning. And so this is where the problem is when it comes to buying things that you can't afford. It's not that you can't buy a car. It's not that you can't buy a house. It just means that you can't buy that house. It means that you can't buy that car. But a person will go for the maximum of what they can afford. And that is where the trap is for many, many middle class. And in many times, people will do that because of status, of wanting to maintain a status that they must be known that they're living a lifestyle of they can afford anything that they want, without understanding the repercussions of what it will do for their finances. And then a person finds themselves in the constant red race where they're constantly working for that paycheck. And so you want to make sure that when you are looking for that finance, you are going for things that you can afford. The second one, what is the point of you working so hard for your money, for it to come in and then all of it go out? What is the point for you to work so hard each and every day for that money, for it to come in and then all of it goes out, such that for you within the same day or the following day you are already broke? I'm talking of people who have no savings whatsoever, have no investments whatsoever besides their pension money or their retirement annuity. But when it comes to their active savings and investments, they don't have anything. What happens to that person is that if any changes happen in their lives, or anything happens where it disturbs their life, they now have to be in constant stress of trying to figure out, how am I going to be able to deal with these things, because they have no savings whatsoever that can allow them to protect what is theirs, or protect their sanity or their peace of mind, and also protect their assets. And so what is the point of you working so hard if all of the money that is going to come in is going to go out? So I want you to ask yourself that. If you're constantly struggling with being broke, you need to ask yourself that, because then when you ask yourself that, then you start realizing that, come on, there has to be more in life. It can't be that I work every day but I just work to service my debt. It can't be. You must aspire to be able to save and invest. You must aspire to those things. And the reason why you need to aspire to those things is because they give you a peace of mind. They give you peace of mind. When you are able to save, you are able to get financial peace, because those savings will come in handy when things happen in your life. When you are able to invest, you give yourself financial freedom. And speaking of financial freedom, I'm going to be hosting a live workshop, or basically a webinar, this Saturday, where we are going to be breaking down how to achieve financial freedom through investing, because I want this for many of us, guys. I think having worked and having accumulated these things, having lived the life of being considered middle class, class where people outside perceive me as successful. However, when I look at my life, I don't feel as successful. I don't feel like I'm living a life of success. And then realizing that it's because I'm working to service the things that I've accumulated in my life. I'm working to service the debts. I'm working to service the asset that I've accumulated. Then that's when I decided that there has to be more. I decided that I want financial freedom. I want to stop working for money, but I want my money to work for me. I want to not just have financial peace. I want to have financial freedom where I can choose what I want to do with my life and have that freedom of knowing that I am going to be okay either way. So if you want to learn how to go about investing, how to make sure that you are putting your money away and you are channeling and you're buying assets in a way that it allows for your money to work for you and in a responsible way, and you are able to achieve financial freedom, make sure that you join us for this workshop, because I feel like it's going to be very, very handy. And this is for someone who's currently saying, come on now, there has to be more than just working for me to pay for that car, paying for that house, and pay for all the things that I'm paying for. There has to be more. So on this workshop, we're going to be breaking down investing, understanding what is financial freedom, and how can you best buy assets that will allow for your money to work for you. That way you can eventually have financial freedom. If you want to learn all of that, make sure that you join us in that live workshop. It is 150 and it is limited spaces that are available. And by the way, I do want to add this. It is in collaboration with Frank Group. What does it mean for you? It means that if you have a Frank account and you have a Pro account, you will get your ticket for free. So what will happen is that Frank will send you an email as a Pro account holder notifying you of this webinar, and then they'll give you a code for you to be able, they'll give you a discount code for you to be able to apply on the side when you are purchasing your ticket on my website, and then it'll come up to zero and you still have to RSVP and conclude everything, but you won't pay anything. So if you're a Pro account holder with Frank Group, you are not going to pay anything. They will cover those costs for you. So that is where the collaboration is. They basically said, we want our people to be part of this webinar and we want to cover their costs for them. If you don't have the Pro account on Frank Group, it's fine. You can still pay the 115 RSVP and just make sure that you secure your seat. Or if you do, make sure that you change job, maybe let's say around the Wednesday, and you upgrade to Pro account, then you won't have to pay for the tickets itself. So make sure that you grab that opportunity to either upgrade or you get the ticket for 150 on my website and secure your space. And let us have that 1.5 hour of just discussing how do we best plan our finances so that we set ourselves up for success, and true success, not the world success where the world or the society perceives of us being successful, but of the success that we feel deep down inside and that we have whenever we're going back, we are going to sleep, whenever we are driving to work, whenever we're doing things where we feel like, you know what, I am in control of my finances and my finances do not control me. So make sure that you grab yourself that ticket. Now let's get back to the point of what are some of the things that put us in the trap of constantly being in the red race as the middle class or as the working class. The next one is that you're constantly chasing the paycheck instead of chasing the freedom. What does this mean? This means that when you are always in the cycle of looking for the next paycheck instead of freedom. And the reason why many people will look for this paycheck is either they're over indebted or they just have too many responsibilities that they have to take care of, that they do not understand that on the other side of that, there's actually freedom. But for you to get towards that freedom, you need to stop chasing the paycheck, but rather chase the freedom. Now, what is the distinction here? Yes, for you to get to the freedom, you need the paycheck. But in order for you to get to the freedom, you need to stop chasing the paycheck and rather focus on attaining the freedom. What does this mean? It means that you need to come to a point whereby you realize that accumulating all of this thing is not going to help you achieve that freedom. But so long as you're constantly chasing that paycheck because you want to service your living expenses, you want to service the debts that you have, you want to service the lifestyle that you have created, this jail that you've put yourself in, it's going to be hard for you to then attain financial freedom because you're constantly chasing that paycheck. And people that are constantly chasing that paycheck are the people that even when they get promotions, always getting the promotions, but with the promotion comes no change. So you need to then shift and start thinking of freedom. Now, if you don't understand also what is financial freedom, it's going to be hard for you to shift from chasing that paycheck and always living in the perpetual perpetual cycle of being in the red race, and for you to understand that there's actually something more, and understand that there's actually financial freedom, because you don't understand what it means. The last trap that we fall under as the working class is not understanding money. And for many of us, we don't take time to actually understand the psychology of money. Oh, speaking of psychology of money, I'm looking at this. There's this book called The Psychology of Money. We don't take time to look at the psychology of money, or what money truly means. Money is not just a means to an end. Money is not just that thing that you just work for so that you can live the life that you want, or that you can just use to buy the things that you need. It goes beyond that. For many, for all of us actually, and for people that understand it, they start living this. They start using money for them to be able to attain this. Money, guys, is a tool. And for many people, we don't understand that. We just think of money and we think of, I just need to work for money so that I can be able to cover 1, 2, and 3 in my life. I can be able to buy all of these things. I can be able to travel and all of that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We all aspire to that. But what I'm saying is, there's a deeper meaning to money. And once you unlock that deeper meaning to money, then you start realizing the power that you can have when you have money. When you understand the concept of the money, or the deep meaning of money, or the psychology of money, you start realizing that you need to be able to think differently about money, for you to be able to have control over this money, but more than anything, for this money to become your tool, the tool that you can be able to unlock any opportunity for yourself. So you need to understand what is money. And when I say understand what is money, I don't just want you to understand that it's just a tool of trade. I want you to understand that with you being able to save and invest, what does it do for you? What does it mean for you? Financially, what does it mean for you? Mentally, what does it mean for you? Because let's be honest, when we are broke, many of us will crumble mentally. We feel like something is off. Some of us even go to minor depression when we are broke. For me, my understanding of money is freedom. Because when I have freedom, I have choices. What does that mean? How does that translate in the way that I carry myself, or the way that I manage my finances each and every month? It means that I need to be responsible. It means that I need to put my money to work so that my money can make more money. And when my money makes more money, it gives me a sense of freedom. It gives me a sense of having more choices in life, where I get to decide how I want to live my life, or what are the things that I want to do without being controlled by money, without constantly waiting for that next paycheck for me to do those things. When things happen in my life, I don't have to be in the state of stress of not knowing how I'm going to deal with those things, because I have put money away in terms of savings that allows me to deal with those things. So, what does money mean to you? That's something that you need to ask yourself. What does money mean to you in one word? When that word that you say it for, when you say it, you start realizing that when you break it down, it is all of those things that will allow you to get towards that. For some people, money means security. For some people, money means peace. And so I want you to think of any of the money traps that you have fallen into that have put you where you are. There are so many, and I wouldn't be able to get into them in this video. So when we do not take time to plan for our finances and look at exactly what is it that I can afford, it becomes hard for you to monitor these traps, or to make sure that these traps don't get hold of you. And so if you don't do that, you find yourself living in the state of a red race, or being in this money trap, or being in this jail that you have created for yourself. So with that being said, I'm going to leave it right here. And also, please don't forget to join us on the workshop. It's going to be on a Saturday at 9 a.m. Saturday morning. We're going to be breaking down investing and how to reach financial freedom through investing. And as I said, if you are a pro account holder with Frank Group, look out for that notification. You are going to get a QR code, and then you're going to use that, not QR code, you're going to get a discount code, and you apply that discount code when you are RSVPing on my website. That means that you won't pay anything. Frank Group will cover your cost for this webinar. But if you don't have a pro account and you do want to upgrade, you can do that. And the earlier you upgrade, the better, because then you can get that discount code for you to be able to join the webinar for free. With that being said, please take care and stay safe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.